Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Fires upfield into the end zone, and it's caught! Jelani Woods! Touchdown! INDY!
Yes. 43-point night for Tyrese Halliburton.
How do you like that, partner?
Renew now, drives in low, throws up a shot. It doesn't go. Tipped up and in by Anthony Leal. Indiana takes the lead.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hey, everybody, welcome aboard to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Appreciate you being with us, of course. Indiana Sports Beat Radio, powered by Andy Moore Honda. Go to andymorehonda.com and get more to your door in the best in new and used vehicles. And the Autograph app. Autograph is where real fans get unreal rewards. The first app to track and reward fans for loving what they love most, turning passion into access and experiences. Download the Autograph app in either your Apple App Store, Google Play Store. Apple, where unhinged fandom meets unreal rewards. Of course, the link, hopefully you have it memorized by now, is simply link.ag.fan/ISB media. Make sure you use that one, and we'd appreciate it very much. But that's a place to get everything in one spot of all your Indiana coverage, and I think you'll enjoy that very, very much. Couple of big announcements come out yesterday regarding Indiana basketball. The first of which, the conference schedule was released. So we'll talk about the upcoming opponents for Indiana this season with the addition of the Pac-12 teams. But the bigger one yet is the assembly of assembly ball, the new TBT team for Indiana's alumni team. Finally, after years of this tournament going on and everyone wanting to see that happen, it's finally happened. The problem with Indiana had a ton of guys that were playing professionally and still do. So it's hard to get those guys together. But after years of trying, Christian Watford kind of seems to be ramrodding it. And Christian's going to be with us tomorrow on the program. So make sure you tune in for that. But we'll talk to him about it. But it's they already have, right now, they have three guys. And I'm assuming this includes Christian. I don't know if he's playing or not. Be honest with you, we'll find out. But right now, you've got a hell of a lineup, and you've got Juwan Morgan, who not long ago was playing in the NBA, Troy Williams, who played in the NBA, and oh man, who am I leaving out, John?
Miller Kopp,
who just won a G League championship. So it's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to talking to Christian Watford about that tomorrow when he joins us on the program. So, and bigger yet is that, and I've talked about this, that's why earlier when I was like, man, this is the year to get a team together, I must have prompted him. I guess I get some credit, John. I mean, I prompted him, said, man, this is the year they play. There's a regional at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Yeah,
of all places. And so
this was you spoke it into existence.
Yes. But they're going to get to play at Hinkle Fieldhouse in that regional, and I'm like, oh my God, this should be from a fan standpoint, I cannot imagine that not being a gigantic draw. First of all, you get to go, this is historic Hinkle Fieldhouse. That in and of itself makes it ramps up the cool factor. And then, of course, it's in Indianapolis. You've got a ton, the biggest alumni group of alumni from Indiana there. So I would think that's going to be a big crowd and a big draw. Hello to everybody hitting us up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. The usual suspects, Fred, Brian, Las Vegas, Larry, Shenanigans, Kent up in Michigan, Donald down in Atlanta, Bob in Georgetown in Southern Indiana, Dwayne over in Evansville. Justin, how are you, sir? He says, hello, all of you jabronis. I love it. Chris joining us from Walton, England. Good morning. He's having his spot of tea and his scone. I always love an excuse to. That's the only accent I can really do. He says, okay, wait, or okay, see what on the show? Yep, that's right. We got it coming tomorrow, man. We don't mess around. Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer yesterday, Christian Watford tomorrow. Hey, man. Indiana Sports Beat Radio tries to bring top content to you every day. Hopefully we don't fail too often in doing that. Chris says, hey, we appreciate you, man. Chris, that's what we're here for, to entertain. And we try the best to do that. And if I fail, we'll just get up and do a song and dance. And I'll be honest with you, I intended on being at Churchill Downs today doing the show, and I plan is to now continue to do that tomorrow. But in sitting here doing all the things to get ready, I forgot to set the alarm for 4 a.m. and to make it down because I wanted to be there for the backside and all that. And so then decided to skip that and just do a studio show, which is fine. Which is what we're going to be doing. But, looking forward to talking to Christian tomorrow about Assembly Ball playing in the TBT. And as a matter of fact, that makes Indiana the only school that has a team in not only the TBT, but the TST, the soccer tournament, which I'd wondered if these were related, but I'm assuming that they are now. So last year was the inaugural the soccer tournament event. Indiana instantly had a team in that. So now they're the only school that has a team in both. That'll be fun to watch. So looking to see that. And then we have the conference schedule announced for Indiana, the Big Ten conference schedule, the opponents, and it's still a 20-game schedule. And there's some tweaks to it. Now it's pretty much the same as it used to be. You've got certain teams you play home and away, just 3. 7 teams you play on the road only. 7 teams you play at home only. And we'll go through those. The away schedule, we'll find Indiana traveling to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes, up to Michigan State, going to Nebraska, Northwestern, Oregon, and Washington are their 2 West Coast trips, and to Wisconsin. Can they vanquish that Wisconsin streak finally? We will find out. Now,
not only that, but the Mike Woodson still yet to defeat Northwestern since being in Indiana.
There you go. That's
so 2 demons to get rid of.
Yeah, get 2 monkeys off your back there. And then the home slate, we'll find Illinois coming to pay a visit, Maryland coming to visit, Dusty May and Michigan coming into Assembly Hall, which will be kind of a unique situation. Minnesota, Rutgers, with their vaunted recruiting class, will come in. The UCLA Bruins. I'm going to have to look it up to see if UCLA has ever played at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. I do not, off memory, I do not know. I'm going to be honest with you. But they also have USC coming in. So that means next year Indiana will be going to Los Angeles. And you'd wonder, are they going to keep those games close so you can make one trip. It would be interesting to see. But now you also have 3 home and away on the schedule. The Ohio State Buckeyes, Penn State, and, of course, Purdue. So there is the conference schedule for Indiana next year. Of course, you can go to thehoosier.com. It's all laid out for you there as well. But it's going to be interesting to see. David jumping on from Dagonia Springs, Indiana. Tim asking thoughts on a backup big. And, well, I'll tell you, Indiana was in deep talks to the Ukrainian, and I don't know where those have gone to now. They may have stretched, but Indiana has, it was on thehoosier.com, there's a report that Indiana has reached out to Bellarmine transfer. Bellarmine is in Louisville, of course. Langdon Hatton. Not only this kid went to North Harrison High School, which when I was in high school, that was a beat-down school. But they have gotten bigger and grown, and their program has gotten better throughout the years. He is a 6'10" junior. And reports showing that Indiana has now reached out to him to possibly fill one of those last spots. He's a Bellarmine transfer center. That came out last night. So he wrapped up his 3rd season of college basketball and 2nd season at Bellarmine with the Knights. Guess where he's a native of? Georgetown, Indiana. So, Bob, this kid is originally from Georgetown down in southern Indiana outside of New Albany. That's wild. Trying to remember if I know anybody by that last name. But that would serendipitously give you an Indiana kid on the roster. But his numbers, 10.5 points, 7 rebounds, shot 48% from the field. It's not bad, but it's not tremendous for a guy around the basket. 50% on 2-point field goals. Trying to read that. There's the last stat there I was trying to read. Couldn't get it, but I think it may have been the 3-point stat. Anyway, we've got lots more coming up on the program. Shannon Griffith's going to join us. Indiana's had some action on the roster side of things as well for football. Bob Kravitz later in this hour as well. All that and more coming up. Don't forget, brought to you by the Autograph app. Autograph is where real fans get unreal rewards. The first app to track and reward fans for loving what they love most, turning passion into access and experiences, meaning you can get some really, really cool tickets for really, really unbelievably crazy prices like $10, stuff like that. Download the Autograph app in either the Apple App Store or Google Play today. Autograph is where unhinged fandom meets unreal rewards. The link, again, link.ag.fan/ISB media. We've got more coming up, including Shannon Griffith joining us next, right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
In the market.
Good morning,
What
Shannon.
up?
Good morning.
All right, I'm going to step out and get coffee. I'll be right back.
You can do that.
Yeah, he can do that.
Are you heading down to the Derby?
I was going to go to, I was going to be there today, starting today, but I forgot to set the alarm for 4 a.m. So of all the things I did to get ready, which were a lot, that was one that I failed to do.
Yeah. Well, you did go down to just this afternoon. Are you going to go down for the Oaks? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, yeah, just to be there. I was going to do some shows from there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I will. I'll do that. Yeah. So I'll plan on doing that on the backside tomorrow.
Crazy time and Derby week. Crazy.
Oh yeah.
I lived in Jeff when I was growing. What was that?
Did
Young.
you really?
My dad was the head football coach at Jeff High back in the early 70s, Jeffersonville.
No, I know. Yeah, I went to Floyd Central, dude.
That's right. Yeah. So I vividly remember Derby week down there.
What was your dad's name?
Bill.
Bill Griffith.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Right.
he was it. So yeah, it was a crazy week.
How long was he down? Was he there? How long was he there, Shannon?
Oh, I couldn't hear you.
I said, how long was he there?
Let's see. We weren't there very long. 71 through it's like 71 through 75, I believe. 76. He got pissed off at the school board down there and told him to shut up. You know what? Yeah, we were there for it was great. I loved Jeff.
All right, here we go, guys. A few seconds.
Market and Table, a part of the Wild Food Group, is your butcher, baker, and fish house, no matter where you live.
This segment is brought to you by the Chop Shop, home of the Indiana football and men's basketball coaches shows. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, welcome back. Appreciate everybody being here. Indiana Sports Speed Radio, brought to you by our good friends at the Chop Shop Market and Table, home of the Indiana men's and women's basketball coaches show and the football coaches show, located just north of Bloomington High School South on South Walnut. Is your local meat shop, steakhouse, and caterer, no matter where you live. Chop Shop Market and Table offers a great sit-down dining experience for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, where you can even pick out your own steak from the on-site butcher or choose from their incredible daily dinner specials. Chop Shop's Butcher Shop offers quality meats like locally sourced Wagyu steaks from the Voiles family farm right down here in Mitchell. Or you can choose from any of their daily in-house made bakery items, cakes, pies, and pastries, all mouth-watering. How's it going, Mr. Shannon Griffith? Please welcome him to the program.
Absolutely doing great. Derby week.
It is that. We were talking in the break. I had planned on being there, but today is the day. It used to be. It's called Thurby now.
Thurby.
This is the locals have been relegated to Thursday, and they gave it the name Thurby. So there's that. We were talking about your dad formerly being the head coach at Jeffersonville High School for a time, which is down there. Brian says his wife's grandparents were both teachers at Jeffersonville, the Brogans. Very cool.
Yeah, I'll have to see if they remember those names. But yeah, we were in Jeff for about 5 years when I was growing up.
Well, you know who else is from there? Micah Shrewsbury, the head coach at Notre Dame basketball from down in Jeffersonville. So very, very cool. Well, you ain't lying. I could use an assistant. You have no idea. That would be of Uber. That would be a great help. Yes, Jim, we have been talking about that, and we'll talk about it more. But Indiana has added well, that's the wrong one. said, did anybody see that Indiana has a team? Yes, we'll talk more about that, but we talked about that in the opening. Indiana has a TBT team, which is cool. But also on the football side of things, they have lost and added guys that quickly in the secondary this week. I mean, it's been within days. You lose Kobe Minor, and now Arizona defensive back transfer DJ Warnell has committed to Indiana. So you lose and you gain. And that was a good quick pickup for Indiana. He is a junior, 6'3" safety. I mean, that's a big dude, man. That's those guys that can get that head start and deliver a blow. Ooh, it hurts.
Well, and we saw some of what they like to do with their coverages in the spring game, and they like their safeties to, one's a cover guy and the other guy's kind of a rover type of scenario, type of guy that they would like to be free and make plays at times. But the good thing is, you get the transfer. The bad thing is you lose Minor, who is a kid that played pretty well in the spring game. I'm not quite sure why he jumped in the portal the one he did, but like we said, we've kind of taken the it is what it is approach to the portal. And they got some good D-line help, though. I mean, they need depth at the D-line. They got that Tyreek Tucker kid from James Madison, who was a pretty good player there at James Madison, and they need help on the D-line. So the portal's closed, so there's no more guys going to opt in. So that's a good thing. But you can still get kids from the portal if you so choose. So I doubt if they're done looking at what may be still available. They've got the kid from Alabama coming up for a visit, D lineman. And his name is escaping me right now, but pretty darn good player. Should have known that yesterday. You should have talked. Got Kellen, got DeBoer, got the lowdown on him. But
I didn't want to touch on any touchy situations there.
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself in a bad position once you got the man on the show. But now that will be a challenging recruiting battle because there's others that young man's going to listen to. And the portal, it can hurt you and it can help you, and like you said, it can turn real quick. Lose one, get one. So we'll see what all happens here and see if they get some more help on the defensive side. I don't think they need any offensive side players. I think for the most part they're pretty good there.
Yeah, we saw that in the spring game that they seem pretty set across the board in that defense. The line was a spot that needed some gaps filled, and they've been working on that. And then the loss of Kobe Minor. Now you add DJ Warnell Jr., who comes in from Arizona via UCLA. He spent 2 years at UCLA, and he's from Texas. So this kid is football built from the ground up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I would assume he decided to jump in the portal because of the changeover at Arizona. Judd Fish went to take over for DeBoer at Washington, and kid went through spring and maybe didn't feel like this was a place for him. So you get a kid, like you said, that's been at Power 5 schools and knows the game. He's got a little bit of a background, which, Coach Cignetti likes kids that have played, right? He wants guys that have been, starters and that they have a body of work that can be evaluated. And that's kind of what you're seeing with some of these kids that he's brought in. He's not brought in guys that are, second teamers for the most part. Most of these kids that he gets are kids that have been in the fire, so to speak, and have played and have a body of work to be evaluated.
Yeah, Chris Lewis asking, do they have an offensive line now? Yes, they do. And they have a solid one at that. So offense is not going to be a problem for Indiana, I don't think, this season. I think they're going to succeed. It's just going to be on the defensive side, making sure you can stop the other teams from scoring, whether it's via the line or the secondaries. They have to bolster those areas.
Yeah, I would say right now they're going to have to be a team, and I think Coach Signetti has alluded to this because it's kind of been that way in college football now. Is offenses are pretty much now you got to score 30, 40 points a game to win. And defensive at time, you kind of have to hold on and hope that the offense makes a big mistake, throws a pick, stumbles or whatever. But the defense right now, they're going to need all the offensive help they can get. And I do think Indiana has a running back room that is going to be productive, and they've got kids on the outside that they can get the ball in space to. And the offensive line, impressive at the spring game. And I do think they will continue to grow and get better. And I do believe they've got some depth there now that they were able to develop through the spring, because they had a couple guys that would probably be starters that were out through most of spring. So everything is pointed in the right direction from an offensive standpoint. Defense, it's just going to be a wait and see what all develops here throughout the summer and then into fall camp.
Yeah, and I know that Indiana is continuing to hone their offensive skills and, more importantly, the defensive skills, because that is going when we did the spring game post wrap-up, we talked about, and I mentioned that normally it takes your offense, especially a new offense, much longer to come around, get refined, and be game ready than defense. Defense just more naturally comes about, other than having to pick up the various coverages and this and that. But in the spring game, you could see it was the opposite. The offense with multiple quarterbacks looked ready to go. It was seamless. They weren't perfect, but for a spring game, they didn't make a lot of mistakes, and they looked good. And you could tell it was the defense that was maybe a half a step behind. And so we'll see if Indiana's defense can make up ground between now and the fall.
Yeah, what I like about the offense is you've got two quarterbacks that I think are big-time caliber kids, with Taven and Curtis. Those two guys are good. Good quarterbacks, and you need a good quarterback, because that's what, around the country, it's always the best quarterbacks in the country are the ones that are, winning. Those are the kids that help make plays offensively and such. And you just got to have a defense that doesn't give up cheap scores. You have to have a defense that forces an offense to move the football periodically down the field and not give up huge chunk plays. And that was one of the big problems with Indiana's defense a year ago. They were giving up, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, 15 yards or more plays in a game. And you just can't do that with a defense. You cannot give up cheap yardage. So that's what I use defense is going to have to be able to do, is force an offense to drive the football and don't give up cheap scores, and an offense that can put points on the board.
Yeah, Robert, with a point that we've all talked about and wondered, it's going to be intriguing to find out if all the James Madison players can compete with the Big Ten-sized lines. And he's kind of wondering about the Ohio U quarterback, who someone else mentioned down below didn't have, the greatest of nights on that spring game, because Taven Jackson may have outplayed him that evening.
Yeah. Now, what we didn't see is Taven take any snaps with the one group. You know, Taven was with the twos, and if you put Taven with any, second team unit, he's probably going to flash a lot because, here's a kid that's played and talent wise is probably better than most two quarterbacks in the country. Curtis, I think will be okay. He's got here's a kid that's coming out of the Mid-American Conference. He was Conference Player of the Year 2 years ago at a good Ohio U program, and made a lot of throws, did a lot of things, and we're going to have to see whether or not some of these mid-major kids are going to be capable of playing at a Big Ten level, especially those guys along the line of scrimmage. You look at the Tyreek Tucker kid. He's 6 foot, 300 pounds. Big, solid kid, can move. But if you look at him compared to other Big Ten linemen in the D lineman area, he's probably a couple, inches short of what most Big Ten defensive linemen look at, and that's why he ended up at James Madison. I mean, that's the facts. Now, that doesn't mean the kid can't play at this level, but we'll find out. And, like we said, it'll all be proven on the field where they're at come next fall.
Yeah, I wish I had in front of me the list of guys that have transferred from James Madison, because it's a lot. It's got to be 15 or more, between 15 and 20, maybe.
I guess I would say we're probably more knowledgeable of those that are the ones that have flashed, which I'd say was probably between 6 or 7 guys that have played that we know about, but there are quite a few. I don't know how many, because like you said, it's been so many, the names start running together a little bit. But these were guys that were their first team starters, whether it be offense, be it defense. Like the running back room, those running backs were from James Madison, and those kids look pretty good in that spring work, game in terms of their speed and their quickness. And then you've got some of those guys on the outside, like Surratt, the wide receiver, who flashed at times. So, it's hard to project a kid coming from a mid-major program to the Big Ten. But, normally those kids that end up in the mid-majors, they are a couple inches shorter. And that's why they're in the mid-majors. But we see it every year, mid-major programs that walk into a Big Ten stadium and end up beating a Big Ten school. So I think today's game, there's a little bit more continuity between divisions than there was, when I was in the MAC. There was a difference, a pretty big difference between a Big Ten's ones and a Mid-American Conference, one unit. So we shall see, I guess you'll say. But I think we're all in a positive light as it pertains what we've seen to date. But that doesn't mean anything until they get on the field and play against another team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on one hand, you can look and say, hey, these guys are going to have a chip on their shoulder because everyone is asking, hey, can you compete? Can you compete with these guys? And they're going to take that as a challenge. Absolutely.
And I don't think they would have brought them, whether it had been Brian Haynes as the defensive coordinator who's brought some of these James Madison kids with him, or Shanahan, offensive coordinator, and Signetti, these guys from James Madison, if they don't think those kids are good ball players, and they had a top 25 team last year. So you can't rule out the fact that these kids have been proven pretty good darn ball players.
Absolutely. Shannon, Griffith, appreciate you joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Brought to you by Remax Realty and Cheryl Sizemore, for those of you in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area. Cheryl's 2 decades of experience could be the difference between getting the home you want or not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Hey, we're back with the man, Bob Kravitz from BobKravitz.com right after this. Thanks, Shannon.
See you guys. Good week.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
If you're looking for a home,
Hello,
good
Jim.
day, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing just peachy.
Peachy.
Hey, what is your direct link to your site? I always
It's just
Pull it up for me.
BobKravitz.com.
That's what I thought. I always just pull it out of my I get it direct normally.
Oh, yeah. On your email?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find your last piece.
Oh, I didn't write about game 5 because it was so fucking late. Excuse me.
Gotcha.
I forgot where people can hear us.
You're good. YouTube doesn't flag us, but I mean, radio would. So, but obviously, this isn't going on the radio portion.
Yeah.
of it, so.
Yeah. Well, excuse my language anyway. But yeah, I just I'm all Pacers right now.
Yep, that I think, well, boy,
They got to get it done tonight.
that's what I think. You cannot, you've got to put your foot on their throat. You cannot let that team linger around and then have daggone it. What's his
Antetokounmpo,
first name?
Lillard.
Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard come back because
I
that
don't
will
think
just
they will, but you can't risk it. You know a game 7, Giannis is going to try to pull a Willis Reed. We're old enough to remember Willis Reed.
Yeah, I exactly.
Thanks for changing the schedule. I got
Thank you.
rehab on Fridays at 9:00. So
Forward.
All right, here we go, guys.
all right.
Bloomington. Right now, get a brand new Honda with no payments for 90 days. That's right, 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment-free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to AndyMooreHonda.com and get more to your door.
This segment is brought to you by Freethink Apparel. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. I hope you are having a great day. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Thursday. And we have got the man, Bob Kravitz, with us from BobKravitz.com. And right now, the thing that is being talked about in Indianapolis are the Pacers as they go up 3-1 on Milwaukee, but then they let Milwaukee back in the game, in the game more or less, but into the series, even though they do not have Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I was just thinking, I go, man, it's a dangerous thing to let a wounded animal keep lying around, and they kind of have done that. And you said it right as I was thinking it in the break that they've got to get this done. You can't let this team go to a game 7. I don't think
This is game 7 for the Pacers, as far as I'm concerned. Now, they've proven that they can win in Milwaukee, but I'm telling you, I don't want to take any chances if I'm a Pacer fan or, Pacer employee. I don't want to take any chances with a team with a championship pedigree and the chance. Now, I don't know how good a chance, but a chance that Antetokounmpo and or Lillard may be back for that game 7, pulling a Willis Reed. So, yeah, they got to get it done tonight. I think they will. It all depends on the pace of the game. When the Pacers play at their pace, which is running, and on makes and misses, that's when they win. I mean, the 3 games they won, they had 30 assists plus, which they did it 3 times, and no other team in the NBA playoffs has done it once. So if they play their game, there's no reason why they shouldn't get this job done tonight at Gainbridge.
Yeah, and it's something that shouldn't be a problem, but hey, Milwaukee, and they're all professionals, but Milwaukee, without their 2 superstars, they've done a heck of a job giving Indiana all they want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Rick Carlisle made the point the other day that if you look at the top, what am I trying to say? Portis is gone for over 30. Beasley's gone for over 30. Beverly is gone for over 25. I mean, these guys have the capability. And, let's face it, the Pacers have a history of playing down to their opponents. At least that's been the case this year. And that's why I thought the game 4 was such a mature, grown-up, why it was such a great God, I can't talk this morning. What's wrong with me? Great performance, because that was a chance for them to take them lightly, and they got the job done and did it pretty overwhelmingly. So I think they take care of business tonight, but you got to run. You've got to run these guys because they don't have great foot speed. They don't have great athleticism. I know that sounds crazy for an NBA team, but they are the oldest team in the NBA, and they cannot hang with the Pacers when the Pacers play their game. It's just a matter of getting to their game.
And Milwaukee, by the way, isn't this the team that fired their coach last year because they didn't go far enough in the playoffs, or was this year?
No, it was this year. Oh, they fired Budenholzer a couple of years ago, and they brought in Griffin, and he went 30-13, and that wasn't good enough. So they fired him. They brought in Doc Rivers. You know what their record in the regular season was with Doc Rivers? 17-19. They were not a good team coming into the playoffs, even with Antetokounmpo and Lillard. They were not good. So there's no excuse for the Pacers. This is a get it done night, and I believe that they will.
Well, we certainly look forward to it, and I know that the Pacers fans are looking forward to it. Moving on to the second round, something that hasn't happened for a long time.
10 years. Been 10 years. And I'll tell you the truth, they've got a chance. If they get the job done tonight, they're going up against a team that's gonna be either a 6 or 7 game series. You talk about New York and Philadelphia. Philadelphia's always got injury issues with Embiid. The Knicks don't have Julius Randle. Now they're going to lose Bojan Bogdanovic for the playoffs. So I think the Pacers have a really good chance of reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. And I know that sounds crazy for a team that won 35 games last year, but this team has played really well down the stretch. They figured out how to use Siakam correctly. Now, if Siakam could just make a free throw, that would be nice. But other than that, they're playing great basketball. I mean, look, what happened the other night in game 5 was totally, you could see that coming from 1,000 miles away, because you just know that the Pacers are not going to play with the kind of force that you want them to in a game that, when they have a 3-1 series lead. And Milwaukee, look, they won a championship. Granted, it was with Antetokounmpo, but that's a team with a pedigree, and they were not going to go quietly into that good night. So Game 5 didn't surprise me, and I would not be surprised if tonight's a completely different story.
Well, and also whether it's all subconscious probably, but when in the back of your mind you have a home sixth game at home, you accidentally relax.
It's human nature. It's human nature, Jim. I mean, it just is. And again, you're going against a Milwaukee team that's won a championship. So I don't think they're going to go easily. I think tonight's going to – I saw the line on the game is like 8.5 points. I'm like, what? I would think, I'm not a gambling guy, but I would think that would be a 4-point, 5-point difference. But whatever. I'm not betting on it, so it really doesn't have any impact on me.
There you go. Switching gears a little bit. The TBT that most of us are familiar with there is a regional that's going to take place at Hinkle Fieldhouse this year, which makes it cool in and of itself. But it is going to have a Butler team, a Purdue team, and now an Indiana team in this thing. And I cannot imagine Hinkle Fieldhouse not being sold out for this.
Really?
Well, I mean, one would think with Butler, Purdue, and Indiana having teams in it now. Indiana's never had a team in the TBT before.
Who's Indiana's team? I don't even know.
Well, right now they have Juwan Morgan.
Okay.
They have Troy Williams, and they have John, jump on here.
Is Miller Kopp.
Miller Kopp.
Okay.
I keep forgetting him. That's the first three, and I don't know if Kristen Watford is playing or not. Okay. But I know he is involved in putting it together. He's going to be on with us tomorrow to talk more about it. But that's just going to be it. That's a hell of a thing for fans to get to go see. I mean, you talk about reviving the rivalry. There's your old Crossroads Classic.
Yeah.
Just need Notre Dame to get a team now.
Oh, that'll be fun. You're telling me something I don't know. So what's the date of this thing?
Boy, I got to pull up the poster. John, do you have that able to pull up? Let me jump over here.
I don't have the dates in front of me, but these, if I remember correctly, unless it's changed,
July.
Usually June into July.
Okay.
Around that time.
Yeah, it's something to write about during the summer. That'd be great. But
absolutely,
we're going to have a lot of stuff going on. We're going to have that. We got the Racers and the Pacers, assuming that the Pacers continue on. I remember in my early years we had the Racers and the Pacers, and me and Mike Wells are flying from city to city trying to cover the Pacers playoffs while taking care of the Indy 500. That's what makes our city. One of the things that makes our city so special from a sports standpoint.
Round 1, games 1 and 2, July 19th.
Okay.
Early in the day, too. These are 1 and 3 p.m. games.
Good. No deadlines.
It's going to be very interesting to see that. The Good Dogs, that's the Butler team playing in that. So, but that gives you an idea of the time frame on that. But all kinds of stuff coming up. Then was it?
And the Fever, of course.
We got the Fever a week from this weekend up in Indianapolis. You've got AAU action that will have virtually every main team, even whether it's EYBL or 3SSB Adidas teams. They're all going to be in Indianapolis. There is a multitude of things going on the weekend of the 17th and 18th. So It is basketball nonstop in this state. I don't know. What is it with this state in basketball?
Where's the hockey?
Yeah, yeah. It's too hot, man. The ice melts. The ice melts.
Oh, is that the problem? Okay.
Yeah, that's the issue. What is up next for you?
Well, I'm just right now. I'm all Pacers. I'll write the game tonight. I'll probably be on them pretty consistently until they're done. And in a couple of weeks we got the track opening, and of course the Fever. They play their first preseason game, and I can't. It's funny that we're talking about this, but everything has changed and for the better. But I believe their first game is Friday or Saturday. So there's a lot going on, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am totally looking forward to diving into this Fever season.
It's going to be very interesting to see the fan support, very interesting to see the success that they can manage. So there's a lot of storylines there, man. There's a lot to look forward to and a lot of basketball this entire summer. It's crazy. Even in a crazy basketball state, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it is a lot. I'm telling you, I'm so tired right now because normally once the tournament ends, you're able to take a breath and relax a little bit. And it's been anything but that. It's been actually ramped up because of the portal, because of the Fever, because of the Pacers. It has just really gotten so much more AAU, all these recruits.
But you know what the problem is, Jim? You work too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that isn't a problem for me.
I do need to swap spots for a week or two. That would help me, but
your golf game would get better.
I don't know if it even would with that. I don't know if there's any help. Yeah. I do better when I take 2 weeks off and then quit. But hopefully the Pacers can get things wrapped up in a Game 6 home game taken on. That's tonight. Looking forward to that. And then plenty more at bobkravitz.com. Make sure you're giving him a follow. And we appreciate you, sir.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Sir, you absolutely. Go out and have yourself a great rest of your week and weekend.
All right.
You got the Derby. You got the Derby this weekend.
Oh, that's right. You want to talk about a sport I know absolutely nothing about? That's it.
That would sound like a blast.
Yeah, I mean, just go and have a couple of mint juleps and you're good to go.
Hey, those mint juleps are a little rough.
I'll take my chances.
Yeah, well, that does have your favorite water in it, bourbon. Absolutely, bourbon and mint. But absolutely appreciate you, sir. I hope you have a great weekend. And relax, and you can just ease into the next Pacers playoff series.
Exactly. It's going to be a couple of days.
Who are they supposed to play?
They play the winner of the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers, which is going to a Game 6 in Philly. So I have every reason to believe that's going to be a 7-game series. So Pacers, I mean, they're a young team, so they're not going to be tired, but you want as much time off as you possibly can get in between series, and if they get it done tonight, I think they'll be sitting pretty.
And potential, you have the Pacers taking on an OG Anunoby team.
That's right, and they've been. I thought that once they lost Julius Randle, they were in real trouble, but I don't know what the updated numbers are, but at one point they were 17-4. With OG Anunoby in the lineup. He's been great. He's been a better offensive player than I thought he would be. And Jalen Brunson's just a beast, man. I mean, he doesn't look the part, but man, he is one tough-minded SOB.
Looking forward to it, man. Cannot wait. That would be awesome if that were to happen. So very cool. Enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend.
All right, buddy. You too.
Absolutely. Hey, before I forget, I want to mention that if you're looking for something to do, I didn't get that added in for some reason. But, that's popping up in the wrong place. Man, I needed to put that down here. But the summer concert series, it's happening down at the near the Rusty Gator in Bedford. For those of you looking that live in that area, looking for something to do, at Harp Commons, which is right behind the Rusty Gator, there's a big area back there. Very cool. Tomorrow night, it starts out. Got Bourbon Britches at 6:30. So head on down and listen to some. It's going to be beautiful, I believe. So a great night to start that off. But all summer, this will be going on, and we'll let you know how about that. And don't forget, Free Think Apparel. Whether it's 24 T-shirts for your upcoming family reunion or 200 for this season's softball league or Little League Baseball League, Free Think Apparel meets your printing needs. Their team of industry experts will work with you to design a professional-looking, sales-generating web store for your custom-designed apparel or promotional merchandise. From large corporations to small businesses, high school sports, national teams, doesn't matter. Free Think Apparel delivers no matter where you are, and hopefully soon we'll have our page up and running with merchandise you can get as well. We're back with more right after this as Tyler Smith from thehoosier.com joins us to update recruiting. Back right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
In the market.
Good morning, Tyler.
Oh, hola.
Morning.
I guess that just disappeared for some reason. All right. What's new? No Clayton Anderson yet. He's going to try to have him in there. Anything new shaking?
Fairly quiet from IU front for those two spots, but might ramp up here with the since the deadline is passed, and now they can got my late spring allergies flowing. Get these out of here.
Oh right. Man, I went through that. Geez. Mike, let's see. Is that? Are you in Brian? It's at College Station. Is that Texas? The Texas weekend this weekend? Where do they play this weekend? Indiana Elite. Is that in Texas?
Thought so. Let me check. No, they're in Alabama this weekend.
Really?
According to Braylon's schedule.
Where in Alabama?
Birmingham? Yeah.
Okay.
College Station's in middle May.
Oh, yeah. That's the 18th and 19th. Well, I thought that was in.
Here we go, guys.
South of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com. That's mystonecrestliving.com for more details. This segment is brought to you by Hoosier Hanks East. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Thursday. I hope everyone's having a great week. See Jason on board from Orlando. Met Jason a couple years ago. He's an official down there and was doing one of the Montverde Invitational games. And so I don't know. I didn't get to see him this year, but he was there, I believe. But appreciate you. And all of our other Florida peeps as well. Don't forget, brought to you by Hoosier Hanks East, located in Bloomington off of College Mall Road. Hoosier Hanks East has an array of custom pizzas, Stroms, baked wings, mac bowls, fresh salads, and so much more. You can dine in, carry out, or have Hank cater your next event. Hoosier Hanks East is a great place to watch the games or gather with your team after and use their exclusive party room for your next gathering. Order online at HoosierHanks.com or visit them at 1285 South College Mall Road. Welcome in Tyler Smith from the Hoosier.com. And it's these last two spots for Indiana taking a bit of time to fill. Part of that is because I think a lot of the guys that it looked like that they had are balking, wondering about playing time, because Indiana has brought in a lot of talent, not just bodies, talent. And that it makes it maybe more difficult to fill those final two spots than had it was anticipated.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Also, the portal just closed as far as who can enter it yesterday. So there's still, that element to it. And now they can really go after these final two spots. Been a little more quiet lately, but you can understand why. I know in the case of Elijah Malone, really loved his Indiana visit. Indiana was in his top three. Felt like Colorado was the best chance to start and play more. So that definitely impacts these guys' decisions at this point. But at the same time, Indiana probably still has some good offers and the ability to be part of a rotation of a team that looks pretty good on paper.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier Indiana's latest delve into reaching out to someone new was Langdon Hatton, a kid transfer from Bellarmine out of which is in Louisville, that just made the transition to Division I a couple of years ago, formerly a Division II powerhouse. And he's actually from Georgetown, Indiana, originally, which is just outside of New Albany there in Floyd County. But he went to North Harrison High School, and I'm sure that playing at Indiana would be an absolutely dream for a guy like that who probably never imagined that something like that could happen.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I would not be surprised if at least one of these two spots, is kind of filled with, either someone like that or a name that has not really surfaced yet. Because I feel like Indiana's talking to a lot of people, some that's been reported, some that hasn't. And, there's still hundreds of names of guys that have not committed yet. So should be interesting. I've wondered about the guy Miller from Florida State as a big from Spain. Of course, the Ukrainian big man that we've talked about on the show. And then obviously the who knows if the Hoosier Hitman himself has an opportunity to come. So those are some of the names we've heard. But I won't be surprised if a name kind of surfaces out of nowhere here in the next week or two.
And then two things of note from yesterday. First of which the first installment of a TBT team for Indiana alumni, and this is something that has been wanted by fans for a long time. It has taken a long time for it to come together to fruition, but now it looks like that has happened. And not only will that happen, they're going to get to play at Hinkle Fieldhouse, and Butler has a team in this. Purdue has a team in that same regional. So it's going to be a great thing for fans.
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited. I mean, this tournament's been going for about 10 years. Indiana finally with this team entering. Can't wait to see how the rest of the roster shakes out. Troy Williams, Miller Kopp, Juwan Morgan are on board so far. So there's a lot of talk online, fans trying to see, would this guy consider, so it's going to be a blast. Single elimination tournament, 8 regions, the Butler region, Hinkle, the teams you mentioned, plus Valpo, Arkansas, just a ton of intrigue. And I love the placement of it right in the middle of summer when you're kind of, you've had a break from basketball for a bit, but you're really looking forward to some intrigue. I think tickets are pretty affordable, but if not, you can watch. A lot of games are going to be on ESPN. So really, really something to look forward to here in a couple months.
Rex asking out in Yuma, why would Indiana be looking at Hemingway and Konstantinovsky? How about that? Boom. Yo, I can say it. Because first of all, Hemingway is a badass shooter. He can get his shot up over guys. He can drive to the basket. He's just been beset by injuries a little bit during his career, but other than that, he would be a great pickup.
Yeah, you can't have enough shooting. It's kind of like in baseball, can't have enough pitching. You know, I see that a lot in the baseball world. Like, why we had pitchers when we've already got some, but you can never have too much, especially if it's a guy that calls himself the Hoosier Hitman. I mean, that nickname's pretty cool. So yeah, thing is, you always got to factor in injuries. Every year it looks like Indiana's going to be deep, most years anyway, and then a couple guys go down, all of a sudden it shrinks. So if you have 11 or 12 that you feel comfortable with, you know, that's going to be better off, not only for competition in practice, but guys go down, you still have plenty to play with. So that's an intriguing name, at least. We'll see what happens.
Yes. The other thing that came out of note yesterday was the Big Ten Conference game schedule for Indiana and for all teams for that matter. The 20-game schedule remains for right now, even though there have been 4 teams added to the slate, of course, with those Pac-12 teams coming in, Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA. And the home-only games for Indiana, again, are Illinois, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Rutgers, UCLA, and USC. They will get those at home, and I've got to go and look to see, has UCLA ever played at Assembly Hall? I haven't had a chance to look that up yet since I thought of that, but I'll have to do that afterwards. Then on the road, Indiana will travel to to Iowa, to Michigan State, to Nebraska, Northwestern, Oregon, Washington, and Wisconsin. And then they'll have a home and away slate with Ohio State, Penn State, and of course Purdue, their rivals. So it's going to be. I can't find an easy game on this schedule now. I'm like, okay. Illinois, you know, they're not going to be a walkover. Maryland's not going to be a walkover. Michigan's not going to be a walkover. Minnesota may be the closest to that right there. Rutgers has an incredible class coming in. UCLA and USC, I don't know what they're going to have. USC is, you know, they lost Bronny James, so we'll see. Michigan State to Michigan State. Nebraska has really picked it up. Iowa is Iowa. Northwestern is. I don't know what Northwestern's going to be like now that they've lost some critical parts to their squad. So and then of course Penn State is the only other. Even though Indiana didn't fare so well against Penn State this past season, but I think next year is going to be a completely different story. But it's the new conference slate, man. You have got a whole new group of teams you've got to get through.
Yeah, that first year especially is going to be crazy, getting used to the 4 new teams, and you know it's only playing 3 teams twice. And also, I just looked it up. UCLA has played at Indiana twice, 1941 and 1956, prior to the construction of IU's Assembly Hall. So that's pretty.
But not in Assembly Hall.
Yeah, 1956, prior to construction of Assembly Hall. So yeah,
Assembly Hall opened in 1971. So
yep. First time in the hall.
That'll be something. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing Indiana go back out and play in Pauley Pavilion. Yeah, there you go, Joey. Bill Walton at Assembly Hall. Can you imagine that? Oh boy, that would be something. Yeah. So but there is the possibility to get a Bill Walton call maybe on the return trip. Who knows?
Yeah.
We shall see. But it's going to be an interesting season. It's going to be an interesting summer, as we talked about. We were both out at the Indiana Jam Fest last week and saw 3 of Indiana's top targets playing in Braylon Mullins, Trent Sisley, and Malachi Moreno. And that is, there you go. That David confirms that UCLA has not been to Bloomington since the 56-57 season. So that was well before the advent of Assembly Hall. But the AAU season is deep underway. They are at Birmingham. That squad is at Birmingham, Alabama this weekend. They're 8-0 so far on the AAU circuit, and see if that can continue. Gigantic weekend coming up in Indianapolis the weekend of the 17th and 18th, I believe, as there is going to be all kinds of things going on and there is also a Rivals football camp that weekend. So holy smokes, you want to talk about busy. It does not stop. And I'm looking forward to it to stop. And I'm not going to lie, this has been busier than during the season.
Yeah, a lot going on, and especially even just the landscape of college basketball with how exciting people can say what they want about the portal. A lot of good arguments both sides, but one thing it does do is allow intrigue all the way through middle of May with news and excitement. So that's something that's definitely different. But those 3 kids that you mentioned, it's a joy to watch being on the same team. All 3 really good players, really good kids. So got to be high priority for Indiana and other schools. Just super impressed by those guys and their composure, even how they speak to us, how they carry themselves on and off the court. A lot of good talent. Hopefully Indiana can get in there and land at least one, maybe all 3.
Well, then you've got Jalen Harrelson, who we haven't even talked about. He plays in the EYBL league, and so, but he will also be in action that weekend at Indianapolis. So there will be all 4 of those. And I've talked about now in the age of the portal, I don't know that you really want to add more than 3 guys to your roster in an offseason. 4 would be the outset. But that would be fine. If Indiana was able to pick up Trent Sisley and Malachi Moreno and Braylon Mullins and Jalen Harrelson, yeah, that's something you're not going to pass up.
Yeah, it depends on who those 3 or 4 are for sure. Indiana is still going to have a lot of spots again open next year. So if they could do kind of a half and half where they're building, top 100 players, some of those guys I think are underrated too. But add some of those, especially guys that know each other, that have played together, and then get the rest from the portal, which will have less players next year with the COVID year thing being a thing of the past. So the portal will shrink quite a bit. It'll still be pretty big, but it'll shrink a little bit next year. So recruiting the portal will change a little bit moving forward.
And looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it being more of a mix is what it should be. And I think that next year for Indiana, that should be the first year where they really do that, where they're able to bring in a number of recruits to blend in with what they already have. Many of the guys that they have brought in this off season from the portal, as a fan, you're going to hope that they're still there, so the Indiana doesn't have to go out and refill that. But they're going to have that many open spots just because of graduation. Some of these guys are one and dones as far as their eligibility left, and then you've got seniors like Anthony Leal and Trey Galloway that'll be gone. So they will have the openings.
Yep. Also, from a momentum standpoint, Indiana coming off a rough season. They've hit a home run this offseason with these moves, at least on paper. Then if you can also land a big recruit or 2, especially from Indiana or the Midwest, and you kind of feel like, all right, momentum is now building, and you start to see some direction of what they're trying to build here, that'd be a nice thing for the fans of the program, for both those things to happen.
Yeah, and there's other players out there. Russell on the Andy Moore Honda hotline mentioning Malik Thomas, top point guard in the class of 2025. But you've got Jalen Harrelson as well. So that's going to be quite the battle. But we'll be keeping up with that. What's next up on the Hoosier.com?
We'll keep you updated with those final 2 roster spots, also as the TBT roster. Every time they add to it, we'll have some news there and more AAU coverage in the coming weeks and months, and keep it right on rolling at Hoosier.com.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Tyler Smith, joining us from the Hoosier.com, where you can go and stay up to date on all the things that IU football, basketball, recruiting, and news. We'll be back with Chris Denari after this, brought to you by the Ugly Grouper, located on beautiful Anna Maria Island, Florida. If you're already in the area or will be, the Ugly Grouper is much more than just unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. The Ugly Grouper is family friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Maria Island, Florida. Tell them we sent you when you go there. TheUglyGrouper.com for more information. And before I forget, don't forget that down in the southwest part of the state, if you're down there, the IU Alumni Association, where did that go? Is that it? I hope I got, yeah, there we go. The Evansville IU Alumni Association having its annual golf scramble outing at Sultan's Run Golf Club in Jasper. That is on Monday, May 20th. And first of all, if you have not played Sultan's Run, it is unspectacular. It is beautiful. It is a beautiful course, and it is fun to play. All proceeds benefit local students through their Greater Alumni chapter of Evansville. That again, May 20th. Just go to myiu.org/events/Evansville Golf 24, or you can contact Kyle King at kywking@indiana.edu, or call him 812-677-1119. There's the information. If anyone needs it, we can provide it for you. We're back with Chris Denari as the Pacers look to close out the playoff series against the Bucks right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Formerly.
What's up?
How's it going, champion?
Hey, I believe I've been to the Ugly Grouper before.
Well, we need to get you back down there.
We haven't been down to Anna Maria. My wife didn't go this year. We would go almost every year, rent a house down on Anna Maria. And my wife would go every March, but she didn't go this year. Yeah. It's not far from Hurricane Hanks. The Ugly Grouper and Hurricane Hanks are close by.
2 great names for seafood restaurants.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, if you ever need to rent a space down there again, let me know.
Okay.
I know somebody that has one.
We used to have a great place that my wife fell into my oldest son's senior year in high school. They were going down. He broke up with his girlfriend, and they had made plans to go. So my wife had to scramble and find a place. She found this place, and this couple, they were awesome. They since sold their beach bungalow for like $7 million. I mean, it was ridiculous, but it was a great.
Wow. I think I would have had to have sold it as well.
Yeah, they part of why they sold it, they reinvested some other things. The taxes were just astronomical. But the house had been in their family for a long time.
I'd rather have the $7 million.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know though, Jim. If I could walk out to that every day, I don't know.
Boy, there's a lot of what's the daggone it? The app that you use to find a house.
That's true.
Zillow.
Yes.
No,
or Verbo,
no, I'm talking
VRBO.
Airbnb. I just you just go Airbnb that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, one game away, man.
Yeah, it's always the toughest.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is.
I mean, they keep listing
Holy God.
Giannis and Lillard as doubtful, so I have no idea if they'll play. I almost tend to think they won't, but we'll see.
All right, here we go, guys.
No payments for 90 days. That's right. 2023 and 2024 Honda Pilots, HRVs, CRVs, Honda Ridgelines, payment free for 90 days. Or get 0.9% APR financing for 36 months on a 2023 Honda Ridgeline. Go to anymoreHonda.com and get more to your door.
This segment is brought to you by the Fresh Fork in Bloomington. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday, brought to you by the Fresh Fork. Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep, proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Order online and let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo radio20 and get $20 off of your first order. That is a bargain. Welcome in Chris Denari, of course, the voice of the Pacers, and the Pacers, they're on par, man. They can close it out tonight with a home game at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. The Milwaukee Bucks have not made things easier, even though they have been without Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. But they've got a bench full of professional players, so it's not like those guys are just picked up off of the out of the transfer portal or something.
No, they've got guys that have been a part of their championship team, Jim. They won the title back in 2021. Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton. They've got Patrick Beverly, a veteran, Malik Beasley. I mean, Pat Connaughton played on their championship team. As Rick Carlisle says, they have more than enough. And, you know, think back a few games ago in the Boston-Miami series, even though Boston closed out Miami 4-1, Miami, without Jimmy Butler or Terry Rozier, beat the Celtics in Boston in Game 2. So you're right. These are professional athletes. They play with pride. I really thought Game 5 would be very difficult on Tuesday night, knowing that you were in Milwaukee at Fiserv Forum. They didn't want to go out on their home floor. And I thought the Pacers did a nice job early. They got out to a 10-point lead. Shot the ball very well, but then it was, Milwaukee went on an 18-2 run, and then it was a 5-point game going to the third quarter, and they started 9-0, and the Pacers just really could never get back in the game. So, the good news is you did what you needed to do in Game 2. You got a road win. That set you up for what is at stake tonight, a chance to win at home, win the series, and go into the second round either against the Knicks or the 76ers.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about the potential of playing, if they play the Knicks, then the Pacers will be playing a Knicks team that has been rejuvenated by OG Anunoby, the former Indiana Hoosier.
Yeah, it would be interesting because you'd have two teammates going against each other. They both started the year in Toronto, OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. And Toronto decided to sort of retool, sending Anunoby to the Knicks, and they sent Siakam to the Pacers. So, it'll be fascinating if that can happen. But the Pacers need to take care of business. I think the Fieldhouse will be raucous tonight. Games 3 and 4 were simply outstanding at Gamebridge Fieldhouse last Friday and Sunday. I expect it to be much the same tonight.
Oh, absolutely. This is one of the biggest nights that the Pacers have had in How long would you say a game 7 or a game 6 for potentially put a series away? They haven't won a series in a decade.
Yeah, they haven't won a series since 2014. They won a second-round series against Washington. The last first-round series they won was a game 7 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in 2014 against Atlanta. They had to win game 6 on the road to force a game 7 because they had lost home court advantage. So it's been 5 straight first-round series, 5 straight years of not making the second round, and so this would mean everything, I think, to this franchise. I mean, the city's firmly behind the team. The attendance has been great. Our TV ratings on whether it's on Bally Sports or TNT or ESPN have been really, really good. So there's a lot of interest in this team, and you just want to see them finish off the Bucks tonight. Now, we don't know if Giannis Antetokounmpo or Damian Lillard will play. It's been floated out there that they're getting closer, but also yesterday on the injury report, they were listed as doubtful. I haven't checked early this morning. It's just hard to know if they'll be available or not. And even if they are available, coming back from the injuries that they have, how effective will they be? And so we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm very confident. The Pacers, Jim, all year long have bounced back from poor performances. Tuesday night was the 7th time that they lost by 20 or more points. And in the first 6 games this year, the game after they lost by 20, they're 5-1. I mean, they've always come back and played well after a disappointing loss. So I expect them to be ready to go and take care of business. I mean, this is an important step for the franchise after having not made the playoffs the last 3 years.
What do the Pacers have to do with or without Antetokounmpo and Lillard to get this series closed out in Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight?
Yeah, they have to play. They got to play a little faster. I thought they got into too much of a half-court game with Milwaukee. That's what they want to do. The other thing is turnovers. The Pacers had far too many and gave up too many points off turnovers, and they were out-rebounded. And if you look at the success that the Pacers have had in this series, not just the shooting and those types of things, but I think the 2 factors that are critical, you need to win the glass or at least not get beat badly on the boards, and you need to manage your turnovers. And I thought the Pacers, what happened to them the other night is the turnovers that they did commit were live ball turnovers, and that gave the ball to Milwaukee in transition. And I think that's the thing that you can't afford to do. You're better off to have a traveling call or something and make Milwaukee take the ball out of bounds after your turnover. There were too many times that the Pacers dribbled into traffic, and it created 3-on-2, 2-on-1 situations for Milwaukee. So I think rebounding and turnovers are definitely something that you'll want to monitor tonight.
You're getting closer and closer to having an extraordinarily crossover busy month, man. If the Pacers can keep winning, the Indianapolis 500 is what 1, 2, 3 weeks from this weekend, right?
Yeah, and I'm also going to do the road course race next week. I mean, what happens, Jim, is we only have a maximum of 2 broadcasts left. Tonight, Game 6 and Game 7 on Saturday. Those are the last 2 games that we can do. And we will not be doing post-game shows, or I won't be traveling with the team in the next round of the series. I'll be at home games. So, yeah, I will be able to fulfill my responsibilities at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the road course race next weekend and then the Indianapolis 500 at the end of the month. But as long as the Pacers are playing and they're playing at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I sort of turn into a fan because I don't have any work responsibilities as far as calling games. And that'll honestly, Jim, be a lot more difficult for me. I am better as somebody doing the games than having to just watch the games. I think my wife would share that sentiment with you back in December when the Pacers were in the in-season tournament semifinal. And I sat on my couch in the living room watching the game with my wife, and they beat Milwaukee. I think Terry said, she goes, I think I'd rather have you do the games than not watch the games. Just because, you're more of a fan, and I'm so invested in it. It means so much to what I do. I have relationships with the coaches and the players. I really want them to do well, and so sometimes you get all balled up, just as any fan would.
Herbal, wondering how Doc is going to guard Siakam tonight. Will it be Portis or Lopez?
Well, the one thing that they did in Game 5, and it really created some problems for the Pacers, is they decided to switch everything. And I didn't think the Pacers reacted very well to that. But I think here's the thing that you find in a best-of-7 series. Adjustments are made each and every game. And sometimes it's advantage to the team that lost to make those adjustments in the next game. So it'll be interesting to see what Milwaukee does from a defensive standpoint, because I do think they caused some problems for the Pacers on Tuesday night.
Let's see, what else is I going to pull up? Someone, Cheryl says that she thinks the Pacers need to keep it on the fast side tonight.
Yes, absolutely, Cheryl. That's the one thing that playoff basketball is. It's a little bit slower. Now the Pacers have scored 120 points in each of their 3 wins. And they had season lows in each of their 2 losses, 92 and 94 points. They're only averaging 10 fast break points per game in this series. I think on the season they averaged about 17. So it tells you that the game is a little bit slower, but they still can play faster. I think even in the half court. I thought they let the shot clock get down way too low many times, and then you're taking a contested shot. They are much better scoring in the first 10 to 12 seconds of the shot clock. Move the ball, get Milwaukee's defense out of rotation, and then you usually get quality shots.
And then Pete asking, where did he go? Will Bally's be on air tonight, or Xfinity, or just streaming?
Well, as of Tuesday night, Comcast and Xfinity did not come to an agreement with Bally Sports. The good news is, now somebody will say we're not on YouTube TV. You're correct. We're not on Hulu, but we're on AT&T Uverse. We're on DirecTV. We're on Spectrum. We're on every other cable outlet except right now, not on Comcast. The good news is the game is also tonight on TNT. So it's TNT and Bally Sports wherever you have your cable. So it's unfortunate right now that it's not on Xfinity or Comcast, but that's affecting all of the Bally Sports properties throughout the country. So it's not just the Pacers, it's Major League Baseball, all those kinds of things. Diamond Sports, which really is Bally, they've already come to an agreement with DirecTV, AT&T, Uverse, Spectrum, all those other cable outlets, but for whatever reason, Comcast has gone dark, and all I can do is call the game to the best of my ability. But there are ways to still watch the game tonight, and of course, if you don't have access to Bally Sports, I encourage you to go to TNT. Spiro Ditas and Greg Anthony will have the call, and they'll do a great job.
Something completely different here, kind of changing topics, but has been popping up regarding the NBA. LeBron James, after getting knocked out, and his possible new deal with the Lakers. But part of that is the possibility of they want LeBron so bad that there is a possibility they may put in, they will draft his son, which personally, I think is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life, to force to basically pry your son's path in if he doesn't deserve it. And right now you're leaning to the side of, no, he's not even, let that play itself out if that is the case. And I think it's disrespectful to the NBA and to the professional players that have all earned their way in and did not have someone just lay down a magic carpet entrance when there's no way that they would have gotten in any other way. And so that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah.
And
I don't disagree with you. I think LeBron has said, early on, I think a few years ago, was like, hey, I'd love to play with my son. I think he has stepped it back from that away. Now the Lakers maybe haven't, of saying, hey, we've got to focus on what Bronny needs to do, whether it's stay in college, transfer from USC, go into the draft. But I will say this, Jim, if you look at Milwaukee's roster, Giannis has his brother on the team. And I wouldn't say that his brother is, we could all debate whether he's an NBA player. He might be a G League player or whatever. But that'll be for the Lakers to decide. That'll be for, LeBron to decide. If you just look at Bronny's numbers at USC this year, you wouldn't say he's an NBA player at all. The one counter I would make, and I would just go, and I'm not trying to compare players, is Devin Booker averaged like 8 points a game as a freshman at Kentucky, and he's turned out to be one heck of an NBA player. Now, I'm not trying to compare Bronny and Devin Booker, but I'm just saying sometimes you can't look at those numbers and, see what an NBA career is. I tend to think, I think LeBron stays with the Lakers. I think he's just trying to put some pressure on them to get better. They've got to be better when you think about, what they are. Now, I will say this, they led in that series more than Denver did. I think they led 75% of the minutes in the 5 games that they got beat 4-1. That says more about, the personnel on the floor at the end of the game than anything. So, yeah, we'll just have to let it play out. I agree with you. You don't – but I guess I'd say this, Jim. I think there's probably been other players throughout history that have been in the league and maybe they didn't deserve to be in the league, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, well, that's life sometimes. So I always have to remind myself that, it doesn't even matter what business you're talking about. It happens across all businesses. Nepotism, baby, nepotism. Let's see, Joey asking, has Doc Rivers coached more teams than Larry Brown?
Let's see, Orlando, Boston, Clippers, Philadelphia, Milwaukee. Not only 5. I got to be Larry Brown's double that, if you count college and pro.
I was going to say, and you had college in, my Lord. He has been all over the place.
Yeah. I would say Larry Brown wins that.
And it's amazing because he's one of the great minds of the game. But for him, he's been a coaching gypsy his entire career, but he is one of the great minds of the game.
I think there are players like that, Jim, that and other assistant coaches look at college football or college basketball. Sometimes coaches are here for 2 years, there for 2 years, there for 2 years. I'd hate to be their real estate agent, and having to buy and sell homes. But
I'd love to be their real estate agent. What are you talking about? It's constant income.
There are players like that too. I think that I'm trying to think who. Ish Smith played at Wake Forest and has had a really longevity of an NBA career, 13 or 14 years. I think he's played with 13 teams. So I'm not comparing him to Larry. I don't know if he's the basketball player to the coach that Larry Brown is, but it always just felt like Larry Brown was like he got antsy after 2 or 3 years wherever he was, and he needed to go someplace else and start anew. And you're right, one of the most fantastic basketball minds there was. And you have to give him a lot of credit for getting the Pacers in the mid-90s back into the playoff mix. The Pacers were pretty dormant from a postseason standpoint in the late 80s, early 90s, and Larry Brown really turned that around.
One last question regarding the draft. Most, from looking at a lot of the mock drafts I've looked at, most of I'll just keep it to the lottery picks, are foreign players.
Yeah. And
I'm wondering, has the transfer portal had anything to do with that, or what is? I mean, it's a lot of guys that you have never heard of that are foreign players.
Yeah, I just made me think this year. I mean, I can't speak to it to totally, because I don't follow it that closely. All I've heard is that most people think from a college basketball standpoint, it is not that strong of a collegiate draft. Now, next year, they're already looking ahead, Cooper Flagg at Duke and those types of guys. I just think this is a year, Jim, where they just don't think the talent is there at the collegiate level with those players coming out. I think every year tends to be different. And I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, one, the Pacers wanted Pascal Siakam. He's a heck of a player, and he's going to be a difference maker for this franchise. But that's why this year they were more than willing to give up their 2 first-round picks to get somebody of the ilk of Pascal Siakam, because I just don't think they thought that this year's draft was as strong as what we've seen in many years.
Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to a busy month of May for you out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well as the Indy 500 right around the corner, man. It's only 3 weeks away. Derby this weekend. Some of the best sporting events in the entire world right here in our backyards, people.
Yep, PGA at Valhalla in Louisville. You're right. You talk about a trifecta in golf, horse racing, and auto racing. And then you throw in the Pacers in the playoffs, Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Pretty good time to be here from Central Indiana.
Absolutely. Chris, appreciate you as always. Chris Denari, voice of the Indiana Pacers, joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Have a great weekend, sir.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
The Indiana Sports Beat Radio brought to you by Boost Fundraising. If you know anyone looking for a fundraiser, Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all, whether it's sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Just go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, and I think that has a period after each letter. That's different, but COYLE. There you go. And also, don't forget, if you're a golfer, that the Hoosiers at Huber's is also coming up at the end of the month of May 29th, as a matter of fact. You can join Hoosiers Connect for an evening at Hoosiers. Damn, too many H words. At Huber's Orchard Winery and Vineyards. The special event for the Southern Indiana and Louisville Hoosier communities will feature head football coach Kurt Signetti, head men's basketball coach Mike Woodson, players from Indiana men's and women's basketball and football programs. It includes an autograph session afterwards. Proceeds from this year's event will benefit Indiana's NIL program. The cost to attend is the same. It has not gone up, $50 per person or $1,250 to sponsor a table, which you can do the math. Doors open at 5:30 and there will be a line, so you better get there. With the programming starting at 6, you can register online at in4indiana.com. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
In the market.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right here. Man, you guys are getting all kinds of sideways today. Well, you know, I don't have to, it's not as cold anymore, so don't have to always wear those warming pullovers that I love so much. Man, you guys are getting dark on the commenting. He was the second to last player drafted, but that is a pretty good point, Justin. That's nothing. Wait till tomorrow. Russell would like for me to write something on the. Yes. Man, did I leave the lid off of that thing or something? That's going to really aggravate me. I think I might have. I was planning on being at Churchill Downs today.
The Downs.
The Downs. I agree, Mike. Thank you. Oh, and speaking of which, if those of you that are listening, if you're not a subscriber, please become one and subscribe to the broadcast. And follow me on Twitter. A part of the Wild Food Group is your butcher, baker, and fish house, no matter where you live.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville and Evansville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Thursday. Derby this weekend, the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs, the 150th running of the Derby. I know that unless you live in that area, you're probably not all that in tune to it, but it's one of the biggest sporting events, peeps. 175,000 people will be there, and that's at the start of the month, and at the end of the month, you have the largest sporting event in all the world, the Indianapolis 500, with 300,000 plus in attendance. So the beginning and the end of the month begins with sporting events right here that will encompass 500,000 people. You don't know how lucky you are if you live in the area. I'm serious. It's and how many people do not ever go to either? A lot. Mind-boggling. It truly is. But you got that coming up. So also AAU action this weekend in Birmingham is where Indiana Elite will be playing, and we'll you can check with the guys over at thehoosier.com. They'll keep you up to speed on what's going on there. As Trent Sisley and Braylon Mullins and Malachi Moreno will be in action for IU targets. And we'll keep you up to speed on that. Tomorrow on the program, John Boy, we've got Christian Watford joining us to talk about Indiana's new TBT team, inside ball or assembly ball. How about that?
Yeah, that'll be a treat, especially those who are, everybody who's been around in the last 10 to 15 years is familiar with the Watt shot. As cliche as it may have become, it is still a moment. But how about the
name? I think the name is cool. Assembly Ball.
Oh, it's a wonderful name, Assembly Ball. I'm not sure what they could have come up with that could have been better.
I don't know that you could have come up with anything that is better. To be honest with you, that's pretty cool. But it's also going to be amazing. This is a single elimination deal, man. Butler will have a team in it. The something dogs. I can't remember exactly.
The good dogs.
The good dogs. You've got Men of Mackey, the Purdue representation. And so it's Hinkle Field House is a regional site for, and I'm going to be surprised if they don't at some point bring the finals to Indiana. I mean, this could be the start of something big. We shall see. It would be cool if it was at Hinkle Field House. Yeah, I can get on the whiteboard and draw some plays up. That would be funny.
I've also seen a few people say that they want Tom Crean to be the coach of this TBT team. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I don't see that happening. What about the Todd father?
That'd be interesting too.
That's something that came to my mind. But I'm wondering if, and I'll find out tomorrow, if Christian is playing. I'm going to guess that he is, but I don't know. Because when they announced that, here are the first 3 players on the roster, he wasn't included in that list. So I don't know if he is coaching / managing. And of course, we'll find that out tomorrow.
What about, I remember last year we talked with Derek Elston whenever we thought they were going to have a team put together.
I reached out to Derek. He was one of the first people I reached out to. He's like, Jim, I just found out about it, man. Or you're telling me about it or something. So that was kind of funny because he was because he does a lot of stuff with Kristen, but yeah, he is not playing. I can tell you that. I do, at least not as of yesterday. He's not. And I'm not sure if he's in game shape, so to speak. So he may not want to work that hard. It's not easy. Gritty says get Dane Fife as coach.
That'd be interesting too.
Yeah, that would be funny. Not funny, but there you go. Actually, that's the thing. There's always been so many names that people are like, well, what about these guys and these guys? And but it's finally happening, so that should be good. Russell's asking, can Dane Fife sell insurance and coach? Well, why could he not? Earlier, someone asked a question about Anthony Leo being able to be a realtor and play basketball. Dude, I don't think that I think you can actually kill people now and still play college basketball. That's a joke, of course. Hope I didn't offend anybody, but the point is, what can you not do? The NCAA cannot win anything because they picked the worst fights. Talked about yesterday, their latest fight with the 2 players from St. John's who were both in the Ivy League during the COVID year and did not play a single game because the Ivy League shut down play. Everybody else that played the year of the COVID year not only got to play in that season, but was given an extra year of eligibility via COVID. But the guys who didn't get to play a single play were not given an extra year. So, of course, the NCAA has said, no, you don't get a COVID year because that makes so much sense. Well, guess what? They're being sued by these 2 guys, and this has got to be the longest shot for the NCAA to win yet. I want to know who makes the decisions on the battles that they're going to fight. It has to be the attorneys, like I said yesterday, who are billing by the hour because they put them in positions of fighting things they have no chance to win. And they shouldn't, because it's just pure unadulterated ignorance. Crazy, man. I don't get it. Pete, I would say Jordan Hulls is out simply because of being on staff at Indiana. Damon Bailey, he stays behind the scenes, man. Charlie Miller would be a good one. I thought of him too, but He's probably busy with the, because this kind of came out of nowhere and his schedule is set so far in advance. So I need to check with him to see how his son is doing. He was hospitalized earlier this year for a serious infection that I hope he got overall fine. So I need to check in with him. Thanks you, Mike. Appreciate you. Cannot wait till Dr. Watshot is on tomorrow either. I'm looking forward to it. You ain't lying, Five. Too much litigation in America. That you got that
1
right.
minute.
Pat Graham, another good entrance. Hey, man, looking forward to it tomorrow. John, who else we got on besides the Watt Man?
We should hear from Zach Osterman as usual from the Indy Star. I do think Rick Bozich is going to join us in some form or fashion, whether that be with you in person at the track or via StreamYard. So we'll see how he's able to join us, and then we'll see what else we can get prepared for you.
That's a lot right there. So we'll look forward to it. Hopefully coming to you from the track tomorrow at Churchill Downs in Louisville to do something fun. But appreciate you guys today. Appreciate everybody on the show. As usual, Shannon Griffith, who joined us, Bob Kravitz, Tyler Smith from thehoosier.com, and Chris Denari, the voice of the Indiana Pacers. Hopefully they can get that taken care of tonight. Big thanks to you guys. Without you, we have no reason to be here. And, of course, John, the producer, for keeping us between the white lines. Make sure you stop by if you're in Southern Indiana. Check out Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, right off of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. And go visit our friend Dr. J to keep that championship smile. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports